Hello, my pretties. All right, it's time for another quickie video on how to do something. Today we are doing a ID badge. Okay, so as always, I print out my stitch sheet, and the majority of these stitches are placement or tacks. The only one that you need to super worry about color on is the last step, and you want to match your top thread and your bobbin thread. Today we are not doing a design. We're doing just a plain blank, and this one is a horizontal badge rather than a vertical badge. And because it's blank, you can add whatever design you want right on in there. And when I type up the PDF instructions for this bad boy, I will tell you what your max size is going to be for your design right there. But before we even get started with that, what you will need is woven WSS. And if you go to my website, I link you right to my very favorite woven WSS. You're gonna need two pieces, two pieces. And you are gonna hoop both of those pieces of WSS. You're gonna hoop them nice and tight. Make sure that you don't have any little wrinkles or bubblies. Okay, nice and taut. You will need one piece of marine vinyl. And I'm doing this one in yellow, so it's all bright and shiny. It needs to be about 4.5 by 5 or 6 inches. I always use scrappies. You will also need a piece of clear, clear vinyl. And again, you want it to be about 4 by 5. And I've got a scrappy. You will need either some olefin or felt. You're gonna put this to cover up your stitches, and it's also going to be nice and slidey so you can put an ID in. And then you will need a clip strap, and the link for the clip straps are on my website as well. Woohoo! So the first thing you are going to do is you are going to hoop your two pieces, two pieces of woven WSS. You're going to make sure they're nice and tight. You're going to throw it into your machine, and you are going to run color stock 1, which is going to be all kinds of die lines. Back in a minute with your die lines. Okie dokie pokies, we got all of our die lines down. Okay, and now we are going to place our vinyl. You want to make sure that your vinyl completely, 100%, totally, all the way around, covers your big rectangular die line. If you are super paranoid about floating and you want to make sure it doesn't go anywhere, obligatory blue painter's tape. There you go. And now you are going to throw this bad boy in there, and you are going to run die line number 2, which will tack this down. Number 2. Back in a minute. Okay, folks, now we have the first part of our fun. Our first part of our fun is going to be to trim our marine vinyl as close to our tack line as we possibly can without going over, just like The Price is Right, guys. Get as close as you can without going over. And I'm going to reiterate, this is a really bad angle. Let's see if I can. Well, that's not much better. Remember, when you're doing this, try not to stab your WSS. And you can see I'm doing a bad job. I've cut my tack down stitches. Is at a bad angle. All right, that's good enough. I'm sure that'll hold. Sure it will. All right, now we're gonna flip it over, and we are going to do two things. Thing 1 is we are going to tape, thing 3. We're going to do 3 things. I'm going to get rid of all these little tails because they bother me. They really won't affect your stitch out, but I don't like them. They're ugly. I know, ugly children need love too, unless they're jump stitches. Oh, this is where I need to tell you something. If you are doing a design, This is where you stop the machine and you add in your design, okay? Go ahead, leave your tack stitch, do not trim out. Do not trim out like I just did, ha ha ha. Do your design, woohoo, right there. Then, once your design is done, come back and trim out and pick back up on your machine with color stop 3 for the rest of the badge. Sorry. Okay, so, yep. All right, now, we're on the back. We're gonna take our felt and we're gonna cover the entire back. Okay, just like that. And we are also going to put down our clear vinyl for our pocket, because this next tack line will not only tack down your felt, it will tack down your clear vinyl, and you'll see I've given you these nifty little die lines to line everything up, just like that. So you want your top edge of your clear vinyl to go right up to that tack down line, and you want to make sure that it covers the bottom of the marine vinyl on the front. Okay. So what I've done is I've put my felt down, taped it down. I've lined up my clear vinyl so it is all the way across, nice straight line. And I'm taping it down as well. Okay, we're gonna go run color stop 3 and it will do the tack down for the felt and excuse me, tack down for the felt and the clear vinyl. Back in just a minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've run my tack down stitch again. This time it tacked down my clear vinyl and my felt, and we are going to trim again, and hopefully this time, knock wood, I do a better job of trimming out than I did last time. No guarantees. I don't perform well on camera. Okay, so for me, I don't like to trim 2 layers of anything at the same time. So for me, and you don't have to be me, please don't be me, that's a scary thought. I like to trim my clear vinyl first, again, as close to the stitch line as you possibly can without going over. And then I come back through, and I trim my felt. And the reason we're doing this is because badges finish with a satin stitch, and you really don't want felt or vinyl sticking out from your final satin stitch. You want it to look all pretty. Is my head in there? Okay, good. I'm talking to myself, ooh, and I'm doing a really, see, I don't perform well under pressure. You're watching, and I look at that. That's a horrible trim. That's horrible. See, when nobody's looking, I'm really good. When everybody's watching me, I'm like, yeah, what am I doing? I don't know. It's the first time I've ever done stuff. All right, we're gonna pretend like I'm better than I am. And we are going to throw this back in the machine, and we're gonna run the final satin stitch. And then I'll come back and I'll show you, wow. Hopefully I'll show you something that looks better than this. All right, so there we go. Throw it in your machine and run color stop 4. Back in a minute. Okay, so here we are, all nice and sewed. And remember, if you had done a design, and since this is a blank, you can do a design in this area right here, that would already be done. Okay, we're gonna trim our tails because they annoy me. And then this is WSS, water soluble. But you don't want to have to play with that much WSS. You kind of want to only have to take care of a little bit. So I leave mine in the hoop and carefully, don't get too close to that satin edge, carefully with my seam ripper, come through here and take off as much excess WSS as you feel comfortable. If you want to get right up on in there and do it right against the satin, well, then you know you. But if you're like me and you didn't do all that work for nothing, okay. So now we take our WSS and we want something down here that's going to not necessarily absorb the water, but keep it from getting all over everything. And I find that water and a toothbrush are absolutely the best thing ever, okay? And you are just going to carefully and gently, right along the satin, rub a soft bristled toothbrush right along the edge of the satin, and you will see that WSS is literally disappearing. Okay? Now, I am not going to sit here and scrub away all the WSS because that doesn't make for fascinating, engaging, or intriguing. Well, I guess I'm almost done. I was going to say that doesn't make for fascinating TV, but guess what? We're almost done, so might as well. There we go. Woo. Okay. Now we need to carefully cut out where our, ooh, that's wet and slimy. Two of my least favorite things. We need to cut out where the badge clip goes. So I always start, ooh, that's also wet and slimy. I always start with my seam ripper. I'm just going to puncture just a little bit, okay, and cut short of the satin. Then I take some really tiny, narrow bladed teeth, really sharp, and I go in there and carefully cut out. Am I even in frame? I have no idea. We can tell how very good I am at this whole TV thing or video thing. Very carefully snip out. We don't want it to look too janky. Come down to the back. You noticed I didn't do both layers at the same time. That's because I'm not crazy. Very carefully snip away your felt on the back. Yay, there we go. Now, find your badge doohickey and feed it through. Snap it closed. And there you go. Actually, you've got a pocket for your ID. Your design will be here, and you clip it to your collar or jacket. Voila! All done. Have a great day, guys.